we've been very successful at finding diamonds in Canada over the last number of years. But I presented those projects in the past to the Takestock audience. And so today is an opportunity to touch on what we think is a bit of a sleeper gold property in our portfolio, the Hope Bay Oro project. We've been holding on to it, waiting for a couple of things, a proper gold market, which we think we're in, and also some stable ownership for the adjacent Doris Gold Mine. And with last week's news that Agnico Eagle has closed its acquisition of TMAC Resources, we think that ownership is now in place. Just stepping back, the Hope Bay Greenstone Belt is a classic greenstone terrain, the kind that hosts long-lived gold mining camps like we've seen in Yellowknife and Red Lake and Timmins. There has been a fair bit of past exploration in the belt by earlier workers, and 3 main deposits have been found at Boston, Madrid, and Doris. The 3 deposits combined now that are owned by Agnico host measured and indicated resources just over 5 million ounces rather, plus another couple million ounces of inferred resources. But the most important of the deposits for North Arrow's perspective is Doris. It's located right at the north end of the belt and right adjacent to our Hope Bay Oro project. This is a great photo here. You can see some of the mine infrastructure at Doris looking northwards and our property boundary only 3 kilometers away. This photo dates to about 2017. On the property, there is one primary gold showing at Ida Point, where past drilling has returned 5.5 grams over 6 meters and 8 grams over just over 4 meters. But the main takeaway that I'd like you to walk away from this talk with is that this is prime real estate. Located anywhere else, this property would have been fully evaluated by now, and that's not the case. And it shares the same attributes as Doris. It's the same rocks, the same structural setting, and the same mineralization style. And in terms of rocks, the Doris deposit is hosted within a package of very distinctive iron titanium basalts. We have on our website a detailed presentation that talks about the chemistry of those rocks, and we're able to map them up onto our property, sort of following these red arrows are pointing where we can see these rocks. With looking at the chemistry, we're able to show other areas where these iron titanium basalts are located to the north of this sort of brown blob, which is a young diabase sill that crosscuts the mineralization. And kind of hides what's going on the property too. And we think that's an exploration opportunity. When you look at, and particularly on the magnetic map on the right here, this red band that comes up to sort of where the third arrow is, you can see there's a bit of a bend to the northeast of the Doris Volcanics. And that's important because that is essentially the same style of structure that we see at the Doris deposit itself, where the volcanics have been bent, where they are in contact with a northeast trending regional structure. And that's where the mineralization is occurring. And we see the exact same setup in the middle of our property. And there's a number of other northeast trending structures that could point to additional target areas. And lastly, in addition to the same rocks and the same structural setting, the same style of mineralization. On the top here, we see a photo on the left is a picture of the original trenches over the Doris veins. That vein sits at a contact between these iron titanium basalts and regular magnesium basalts. At that same contact on the Oro property, we also see quartz veining, iron carbonate alteration, a little bit of drilling that's been done. Our best result is 7 grams over 30 centimeters. So a discovery hasn't yet been made, but the setting is there, and that's really important. And then on the bottom, we also see a similar situation at the H4, H3 quartz vein system in the northern part of the property, where we see in these veins these very unique tourmaline pyrite septa that are associated with gold mineralization. Values have ranged from background up to 15 grams per ton here. And we see the exact same tourmaline pyrite septa associated with gold mineralization at Doris. And so looking forward, now is a time, we think, having a very solid owner in Agnico of the property immediately adjacent to where we're working. Now's the time to revisit this property. We're going to look at areas of structural complexity and what's happening underneath overburden and what's happening underneath that diabase sill. And we're going to do that either on our own or with a joint venture partner would be probably the preferred way we would do it. But the plan is to get going on that this summer. We have a nice quote here from Sean Boyd, who's the CEO of Agnico, just talking about the importance that early stage exploration plays in adding value, and we agree with that completely. And having that sort of vision right next to us, we think is positive. And when we look at the overall setting of our projects, we are a northern explorer. When we look at where Hope Bay sits and where our Now Yet project sits, they both actually sit on the Arctic Circle. And so we think that there's a really good combination here and the opportunity to be finding both gold and gold and yellow diamonds from Naujaat, from the land of the midnight sun. And so that's going to be a real focus for us. We will be conducting the bulk sample this summer, starting in June at Naujaat, fully funded by our partner. And now we're looking to add to that the good combination of looking to fully evaluate the Hope Bay Oral project.